All right, hello people again. I wanted to make another brief video kind of going into how I began to uncover the deception that fuels profits in the markets. Okay? What do I mean by that? You should probably watch my older videos. But if you don't want to, that's fine. I'll just go over it quickly right now. The markets are a zero-sum game. What goes into the market comes out of the market, essentially, in the majority of cases. Okay? When you lose a trade, that goes to somebody else who won the trade, technically, right? Not directly necessarily. You may have bought from one person and then you sell to another person. But in the roundabout grand scheme, when you lose money in the market, that goes to winners in the market. Maybe not specifically one-to-one, like they didn't necessarily, the person who bought from you isn't necessarily going to exit right when you exit, right on the other side of your position, unless you're trading Forex with an internal broker who, then they are literally doing that, okay? But let's just say, aside from brokers who are trading for Forex purposes, I'm talking in terms of like stocks, futures, even other asset classes, okay? Housing market, car markets, any market, okay? Essentially, it still comes at what it boils down to when you take away the illusions that inflation creates and purchasing power of the dollar or of a currency, everything that is designed to obscure the zero-sum game, printing money, again, which is why inflation happens, all of that, you take all of that away, pull back the curtains, it is a zero-sum game. In maybe a more roundabout way, in some cases than in others, but it still is a zero-sum game. And the big banks definitely have a bead on how that works, and they are the ones making the most profit out of it, as well as the Treasury Department, Federal Reserve. Any big, powerful institution, they didn't get that way by not being able to take money from other people, right? Because money in itself is a zero-sum game, okay? So the reason that the United States government even still exists, the reason why these big banks still exist, is because they are good at managing money and good at taking it from other people, right? Through taxes or making profitable investments, meaning that someone else made an unprofitable investment. That's how money works, okay? Please get that into your head. If you don't believe me now, you are going to lose money, and eventually you will have to accept that this is the truth. It is a zero-sum game. Okay, anyway, now I've got all that out of the way. And if you look at my other videos, you'll see basically the news media is in on it, and everything's rigged so that retail traders will make the wrong decision and take bad trades or bad investments, and they will give their loss, the difference between their negative return on their investment, whether it's a day trade or a long-term position, the negative return that they have, that same negative return becomes somebody else's positive return, a big bank, an investment institution, a government department, whoever, okay? And the whole concept that of how to win in a zero-sum money game is buy low, sell high, right? The whole point is that you're buying it for less than you're selling it for. Now, you could be short selling, so you could sell it first, borrow shares to sell it first, and then buy it back later at a lower price, but you're still buying low and selling high. You just sold before you bought. Okay, anyway, how did I uncover just how true this is? Okay, what happened to me personally that began to give me clarity in this aspect? Okay, let's go. So, I watched this video called the Science of Numbers Forecasting the Stock Market, I believe. Hold on, let's look it up. Okay, Michael S. Jenkins. Oops, I misspelled it, but whatever. Okay, so this guy, and this is not about the conspiracy, but these two videos, The Science of Numbers Forecasting the Stock Market and Part 2, what happened was he identified a 2,339-day cycle that causes lows or highs in the S&P 500 as well as the Nasdaq basically. And so he pointed out that these cycles actually iterated .com, the very low of the .com boom burst, it was right here. So this date, this low, 2,339 days from that low is this low. 2,339 days from this low was this high at like the end of July, basically. And now that didn't cause a major recession, but at the time, that's a pretty significant drop in the market, right? So clearly there is something cyclical related to 2,339 days going on. Okay, well, guess when the next iteration of that happened? None other than December 25th, 2021. This week right here. Now, on certain instruments, it may have been off by a week, but again, you get the gist. There is a 2,339-day cycle that actually influences the market. Want to know when the next iteration of it is? May, I can't remember the exact date, but it's late May 2028. So you might want to mark that down on your calendar. Expect it in the end of May 2028, there will be a major shift in the market again. There could be shifts before then, in leading up to then, but I can pretty much guarantee you that at or around that date, there will be another shift in the market. Now, okay, so I've established now that basically I knew that there was going to be a bear market last year because of that. Now, okay, so now knowing that ahead of time, yes, predicting the future, that there was going to be a bear market, I was able to see that there is a massive conspiracy by the big financial institutions. Let's just consider them all financial institutions, whether it's a bank, like a swap dealer bank, like BlackRock or Vanguard or any of those things, or the Treasury Department, the Federal Reserve. Okay, look, they all run on money. Their whole business is money. Okay, so they're all financial institutions in a sense, right? The news media too. Okay. So knowing, if you know ahead of time that there's a bear market, that means that whenever something happens pertinent to it, it will give you a clue, right? Well, it wasn't long after that date passed that, again, the market started collapsing, and I was like, oh, well, this really is true. Now, somewhere around here, something very interesting happened to me. Now, if you live in America, you definitely know this, but I don't know if this happens in other countries as well. I'm assuming it does. Banks will spam you with physical mail, right? You'll get physical mail in your mailbox from banks. Usually it's like credit card offers, like you're pre-approved for this, that, the other. But sometimes it won't just be that. They're like, occasionally it'll be something different. Okay, well, I got something a little bit out of the ordinary. I got a Wells Fargo mail, but this time it wasn't a credit card thing like the usual whatever. It was an offer for a deal on a mortgage. Let that sink in for a second. Right at the beginning of a bear market, Wells Fargo is offering to sell me a home. Now, banks are profit driven. They buy houses cheap and they sell them expensive. So if I know ahead of time that there is a market crash coming, and I know that it's going to affect the housing market as well. Let's just look at what's the housing market chart. Give me a second to find this out. Okay. Now, let's just look at the 5-year chart, I guess. Okay. So now, okay, I guess the prices are still going up of homes, but that's not really like what I'm trying to get at here, okay? Because this is a bit of a lagging indicator anyway, right? So, so basically, housing prices have gone. They've basically gone back down to their yearly low, right? Anyway, but so they started selling houses, right? Let me see. Right, so like that's the financial crisis. Okay. So and as you can see, there's definitely a drop in home prices. But obviously it was a little bit lagging. Okay, but so again, I can't say that this is a perfect explanation of everything, but it was enough for me to start seeing through the cracks, right? Because basically, again, I don't know why the housing prices actually continue to go up. I think that's basically this might not be a let me whoa, okay, I know what it is. Wait. There we go. Oh, okay. See, this is why. It wasn't inflation adjusted. Okay, so this is the this so that I don't know. I guess that one wasn't inflation adjusted. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so right around here, this is okay. Sorry about that because that last chart threw me off. I was like, what the heck? I'm like, no. Okay, so this yeah. So right around here, banks are selling houses to people, right, or mortgages or whatever. Okay, what happens immediately after the banks start dumping off houses? Well, the price of houses declines. Okay, there you have it. So I saw that and I said, wait a minute. I know there's going to be a recession. And when there's a recession, I know that housing prices decrease because people can't afford homes as much. They're not prospering as much. And so there's less demand for homes at a certain price, right? So then the price decreases. Okay, so that's what I was getting at. So basically, I saw that the banks were trying to get me to, get a house. And I was like, hold on. This is very conveniently timed. And again, back then I wasn't really aware of the whole premium discount thing, but now I really am aware of that and it makes so much more sense now. But I already knew that something wasn't right when I got that mail and I was like, this is not ordinary for them to be advertising a house to me. I'm not a high income person. I'm not going to be buying a house, but so if I'm getting mail about houses, that means they're doing what? They're trying to sell houses to everyone, right? They want everyone to get a mortgage right here at a very carefully timed peak in the housing market, right? Okay, so that's how I knew. That helped me confirm. I was like, hold on, there's something shady going on here, because no one really trusts banks, but people get duped. When the banks say that we can make you money, then people start trusting them because they're being greedy, right? Okay, now let's go to the flip side of that. So that is where I got mail from Wells Fargo. I'll just put a little text box and an arrow here. Okay. Mail from Wells Fargo offering mortgages. Offering a mortgage. Okay. Then what happens here? This is what I got here. Now remind you, the whole time this bear market happens, the dollar's going up, right? Meaning that the dollar ends up at a very big premium. Okay. So, and again, what do we just learn based on this? That banks will sell something at a high price because if they expected it to continue going up, they would not be selling it, right? They're going to wait to try to get the most bang for their buck they can. That's just simple business. You can't blame them for being greedy like that. That's just the way money works. If you could sell a car for $10,000 or $12,000, what would you pick? $12,000. Okay, so they're just doing business correctly. Okay, so anyway, but of course there's a shady conspiracy going on to ensure that they get the best deal on what they're selling or buying. Okay, so anyway, here, what happens here? I also start getting mail. Not only that, but mail, advertisements, stuff like that. It's still mail is still from these banks. It's still an advertisement of a sort, right? But I start seeing advertisements for high yield savings account. And I know the dollar and the stock market are not completely inversely correlated. I kind of said that in previous videos, and since then I have to make a correction that they're not always inversely correlated, and they're not always correlated. There will be times when they inverse and times when they don't, but it's not really completely that important. Though when you recognize that they are inversed, they will tend to continue being inversed for a time. So it can be helpful, but they don't always inverse. And some people, Now, statistics can be manipulated, but some people actually say that their stats say that the dollar and the stock market are actually positively correlated in the long run. To me, that doesn't really matter because the value of the dollar against other currencies is different from the purchasing power of the dollar. And to me, that's really what I'm concerned with. And the purchasing power of the dollar is always depreciating. And as you can see, as the value of the purchasing power of the dollar is depreciating, this doesn't go back that far, I guess, but this obviously has been around a lot longer than that. Well, not this ETF, but the S&P 500 has. So as the purchasing power of the dollar has been on a steady downtrend forever since 1776, right? This is what? Inversely correlated. Okay, so that's what really matters. But anyway, so even if the value of the dollar against other currencies goes up, remember that the purchasing power is always going down. So unless the value of the dollar against other currencies is going up so fast that it's outpacing its depreciation, aka its inflation, it's not a good deal, right? Unless you and remember, this is where the dollar started going up. And since here the dollar has not returned to the peak it made in this area, correct? So were the banks advertising high yield savings here when the value of the dollar was against other currencies was about to skyrocket, or did they do it here, which was as of now was its high? You see what I'm saying? Okay, so anyway, so based on that, I got the mail from Wells Fargo offering mortgage. I watched the housing market start to crash, or it crashed a bit. It didn't have to crash a ton because not every recession has to be humongous. But if you look, it came back down to very near the COVID high. And if you know about breaker blocks and stuff, it's just like all buying has to be met with selling. Once the market already had balanced out there. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track. But so purely based on fundamentals, if I know this mill's a lie, then I already have a feeling that when the banks start unrolling their next big play to unwitting retail customers, it's also going to be a lie, right? So right here, I start seeing high yield savings accounts being promoted. And I think it was around somewhere here, I even seeing billboards, literally like seeing billboards, driving by billboards promoting this, right? It can't be that easy. Financial markets, what do you know about statistics about people who are actually profitable in the long run whether they're trading or investing and stuff? It's about 9%. 9% people are profitable. And they take the profits from the other 91% of people who are not profitable, right? That's kind of how it works. Okay, so if they're promising you high yield savings on a billboard and everyone is getting a free interest on their cash, which again is better than doing nothing with your cash at all, fine, take it. Yeah, if they're going to give that to you, fine. But wouldn't you have rather been in the S&P 500 or one of the top stocks on it, or buying options contracts, which are highly leveraged for preparing for a bull market? That's what I did. Okay, and that's what I'm still doing. So yeah, okay, I kind of was a little bit all over the place with that, but hopefully this helps you see into just a little bit of like how I began to see into the zero-sum game and how pretty blatant and obvious the lie is. Once you're willing to believe it, like everything that you see, it just makes complete sense why the major financial plays that the banks will try to call out to customers will be completely wrong, because they need to make money and they need to dump their positions off onto unwitting retail, right? Whether it's a house or the value of the dollar or a stock. Okay, now actually I'll go into one other thing. At the end of the year, a little bit after, I got mail. So I had been living with a family member who's not a direct family member, but like, basically a cousin. And I have someone who was a grandparent who passed away, and they left money in their will, right? They have like a trust fund. Now that cousin of mine, their parent also passed away. So they now actually have access to the will. I don't yet, because my parent on that side of the family is still alive. But basically, I got to see the account for the trust fund. And what did they do? This is so screwed up. The trust fund account at the beginning of the year was at a value of over $2 million. Guess what the final statement on the account was at the end of the year? $750,000. Now, if that happened to me, or to, well, not me specifically, I'm probably not going to see that money, but if that happened to me, it's nothing personal, right? If that happened to, in my case, that happened to, think about how many decently wealthy people left a trust fund behind with a few million in it, or it had been grown up to a few million. And then what happens? The big banks do this. It's completely engineered, and they made the difference. The $2.3 million that was in that trust fund here, and it's now like $750,000 at the end of the year, but they probably sold it earlier. Who makes the difference? That's over $1 million. That's like $1.5 million basically that came out of that account and now is in the hands of a bank. Now think about how many people who trust a financial advisor who works with one of these banks. How many like middle class or upper middle class American people or people around the world trust these financial advisors to manage their money for them? Okay, do you see the hustle? Do you see the hustle I'm pointing out now? It's serious. This is real. Okay, I have evidence that it's happening. Okay? This is why you don't trust a financial advisor. This is why you have to learn how these markets are a zero-sum game, and you have to be your own financial advisor. And you are swimming upstream. It's not easy. Only 9% of traders will make money. But if you don't become that 9% of traders who makes money, one way or another, a big financial institution is going to screw you more than they're already screwing you. Because remember this, you pay taxes. Okay, so if you're going to have to pay taxes, they're going to screw you either way. So you have to figure this out. Okay, this is not an option. The world is approaching a place financially where the gap between the rich and the poor is getting wider and wider, and the middle class is getting erased, right? The upper end of the upper class of the middle class is whoever's figuring it out is going up into the wealthy, towards the 1%. Everyone else is getting poorer every year. I'm not kidding you. Everyone's getting poorer. You're going to see it happen. You need to prepare yourself, okay? Because times are going to get tough. It doesn't matter if the stock market's doing well, okay? This thing could go to, I don't know, this could be 500 in January, okay? And people will be poorer because in order for it to get to 500, what has to happen? People have to get poorer. Okay? Why do you think there's more homeless people than ever before? Okay? Think about this too. The population of the world is always growing. That's more mouths to feed, but there's more people that need resources, and the resources are being increasingly hoarded. So not only are there more people trying to fight for money, there's less of it being given around because the people who are getting it are hoarding it more and more. Okay? And I'm not saying you should be a greedy person or hoard your money, but you need to at least protect yourself. And if you make money in a financial market, that's not unethical. That's you just understanding how the game is played and playing it correctly. You're not the one that's moving these markets in the direction. If you can correctly speculate, completely fine. That's completely ethical, right? You're not the one scamming everyone out of their money. You're just trying to survive, okay? And if you're not doing it right, you're not going to survive. Your family is going to be broke, okay? Your grandchildren are going to be broke. I'm not kidding. Okay, so I know this is kind of a weird video, but like, trust me guys, this is serious stuff. Like, the more you uncover the truth, the more urgent it is going to seem to you that you have to do something about it, because the more aware you become, the more you realize just how broke the system is trying to make you financially. It wants as much of your wealth as you are willing to give it. It will take everything from you if it can. These people who run the government, who run these financial institutions, they don't care about you. They care about themselves. You can't blame them for it. It is messed up, okay, but we're not the judge. But we have to protect ourselves from these people, okay? Don't get all up in arms about it. It's the way the world's worked for thousands and thousands of years. Maybe longer. But just be aware of it and protect yourself. And most people, by the way, they won't believe you anyway. So don't go around trying to save everyone. Just help the people who are willing to believe you about this stuff. And first off, help yourself first, okay? If a plane's crashing, you can't help out the next guy till you put on your own oxygen mask, right? They say you have to put on your own oxygen mask before you can put on the person next to you. Well, you have to know how to put on an oxygen mask before you can teach someone else how to do it. Okay, so focus on yourself, focus on getting good at finance, understanding how these markets work, how it's a zero-sum game, and how people are being lied to. Get good at trading, get good at investing, figure that out. Okay, and a couple years down the road, you'll be in a position where you'll be able to help other people and you'll have the evidence to back it up, right? No one's going to listen to you if you're broke. But if you have the money to prove that what you're doing is correct, then you'll be able to help other people too, to help them out with their financial situation, right? So you'll be able to turn a negative into a positive. This whole scam, well, you'll be aware of the scam. You'll make the right side of the trade, but then you'll be able to turn around and do something positive in your life and in the lives of those around you with it. Okay, so that's the whole point. That's the point of this channel. Okay, if I was really greedy, I wouldn't tell anyone this stuff I know, because the more people that know about it, the less effective the system is. I mean, it's still going to work either way, but I'm throwing you guys a bone here. Okay, look in, and I hope that you guys discover things I don't even know. Okay, because everyone's unique, and each of you has a unique brain that was uniquely created by God that is able to see something that no one else can see. Okay, and I guess this is what I was supposed to see. But maybe there's nooks and crannies to this that you guys will find that I don't even know yet. Okay, so we got to start a community here. Okay, don't just look to me for all the answers. This is going to become a coordinated effort. Okay, we're going to figure out everything we can about how these markets are manipulated, and we're going to help each other and help those we care about with their struggles in life financially, okay, to do good for others. That's the whole point, okay, is we're going to turn this system on its head, even if it's just a little bit of it or a little piece of the system, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to turn the tables in the casino, and we're going to help people, okay? Because I know every one of you watching, you have people you care about, people who are struggling financially, who need help, and you probably are too. Okay, so let's figure this out. Let's not be crabs in a bucket trying to pull each other down. Let's just do the right thing. Be smart, be wise, and do this with love, okay? So I don't know why I'm rambling, but if this kind of stuff is hidden in plain sight, so we all have to figure out the evidence and the pieces for where it's there, and so that we can predict where the market's going to go next. Okay? Because I'm already starting to see that the news sentiment is starting to go bullish. Now that doesn't take away my bullish bias, but if I learned anything about last year is that sometimes usually when the news starts putting a bullish bias out, that would mean I don't think it's the bull market is going to turn back into the bear market. But if the news gets too bullish, what that generally will mean is that there's going to be a pullback, right? So they'll bait in investors. Those investors, this is more short-term swing traders. They'll bait people. People will open up Robinhood accounts and stuff. There'll be big news days, so everyone starts going in long, FOMOing. Then they'll wipe all those people out just long enough to scare people back into thinking it's a bear market. But really it's just a pullback in a bull market that, the good traders understand, and then it'll continue higher. Okay, so remember that. If the sentiment gets too bullish, there probably will be a pullback coming. But not necessarily, okay? You have to kind of look in all the sources, check Reddit, Wall Street Bets, check Discords, get the popular opinion of the traders in your Discords and in Reddits and stuff. It will reflect the opposite side of the trade that the big institutions are taking, 9 out of 10 times, right? So just keep your eyes peeled. Let's figure this stuff out, okay? Because I'm proving that it is possible, and I've proven what fundamentals are. Earning plays, they can work in a bull market, but it has to be a bull market. So yeah, this is a good season for earnings plays, right? If you look up Kullamagie, Qullamagie, he is this Swedish stock trader. He turned $5,000 to $10,000 into $100 million in 10 years. Okay, he's obviously doing something right. He doesn't know this that I know, but he's so good at earnings plays and technicals that he's good at trading them. Well, this is the season. He's back in trading and streaming because he recognized a bull market. He's been doing it again for a couple months. He struggled a lot last year. Why? Because he didn't know about Michael Jenkins. So there's so much to know about markets. But even if you don't know everything, you can still be a wildly profitable trader. But I want to know as much as there is to know so that we're ready to roll with any punch coming at us, right? Okay, anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Take care, guys.